Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Ozcast.
Welcome back to Just Podding Around, the wrestling podcast where we deep dive into the biggest moments in wrestling history and rebook them in a way that could have changed everything. I'm your host, Race Williams, and today we're tackling one of the most intriguing what-ifs in WWE history. What if Chris Benoit had challenged Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 20? This one change doesn't alter WrestleMania. It shifts everything in WWE from the Royal Rumble 04 to Survivor Series 04. Let's set the stage and book this alternate timeline. Alright, let's start at the 2004 Royal Rumble. In reality, Chris Benoit entered at number 1 and pulled off the ultimate underdog victory, last eliminating Big Show to punch his ticket to WrestleMania 20. Afterward, he jumped to Raw, choosing to challenge Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. But in our alternate timeline, Benoit makes a different choice. Instead of jumping to Raw, he stays on SmackDown and sets his sights on the WWE Championship, which at this point is still held by Brock Lesnar. The moment Benoit makes this decision, the road to WrestleMania 20 looks completely different. But there's one problem. Eddie Guerrero isn't champion yet. Would WWE still book him to dethrone Lesnar at No Way Out? Or does Benoit's presence change the landscape? At No Way Out 2004, Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar in one of the most emotional moments in WWE history. But with Benoit already set as a WrestleMania challenger, does this moment still happen? I say yes, but the build changes. In our timeline, SmackDown GM Paul Heyman announces that Eddie will face Lesnar at No Way Out, and the winner must defend against Benoit at WrestleMania 20. Instead of Eddie being the ultimate underdog, he now has an added layer. His best friend is waiting for him at WrestleMania, but only if he can get past Lesnar. Benoit is ringside for the match, cheering Eddie on, but also scouting his potential opponent. Eddie still beats Lesnar, and after the match, Benoit steps into the ring. No words needed, just a stare down. The ultimate respect between two friends. And with that, our WrestleMania 20 main event is set. Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit for the WWE Championship. Now, let's talk about WrestleMania 20. In real life, Benoit won the World Heavyweight Championship by making Triple H step out, while Eddie Guerrero retained against Kurt Angle. Afterward, the two shared the emotional embrace, celebrating as world champions. But here, we get Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Benoit for the WWE Championship. A match that never happened in WWE, but would have been a masterpiece. How would WWE build it? In the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, WWE plays up their friendship, but also their competitive history. Benoit and Eddie team up against the heels like Kurt Angle and Big Show, but subtle tensions builds as the two men tries to one up each other. SmackDown GM Paul Heyman teases a heel turn, asking Benoit if he is willing to do anything to become champion. Here's the match outcome. This match will be pure wrestling storytelling. Submission counters, suplexes, and an intense pace. Do we get a clean finish with Eddie outsmarting Benoit? Or does Benoit, in desperation, do something questionable to win? I'd book Eddie to retain, keeping him as SmackDown's top babyface. Afterward, Benoit shakes his hand, setting up a rematch. After WrestleMania 20, SmackDown moves forward with Eddie as champion. But where does Benoit go? Option number 1, the respectful rivalry continues. Benoit, still a babyface, wants one more shot at Eddie, leading to a rematch at Backlash 04. Option 2, Benoit's heel turn. Alternatively, Benoit gets frustrated after losing and snaps, turning heel for the first time since WCW. Either way, Benoit and Eddie headline SmackDown through the summer. But what about Raw? Without Benoit, Triple H locally retains at WrestleMania 20 and continues his reign. Randy Orton's rise may be delayed as Evolution doesn't start breaking up apart so soon. Maybe Chris Jericho or Edge gets pushed into the main event instead. By SummerSlam, we need a new challenger for Eddie Guerrero. In reality, Eddie dropped the WWE title to JBL at the Great American Bash. In our timeline, I'd book Eddie to hold the title until SummerSlam, where John Cena steps up. Meanwhile, Benoit, now a frustrated heel, moves into a feud with The Undertaker, trying to prove he's the real best technical wrestler. Imagine Benoit versus Undertaker at SummerSlam 04, a brutal, submission-heavy match. By Survivor Series 2004, everything changes again. Eddie versus Cena headlines SmackDown, possibly with Cena winning the title. Benoit, now a top heel, takes on Kurt Angle in a submission war. Meanwhile, on Raw, Orton finally dethrones Triple H. Maybe later than in real life. So, in this alternate timeline, we get Eddie versus Benoit at WrestleMania 20, a technical classic. Triple H's reign lasts longer on Raw. Randy's push may get delayed. Cena becomes SmackDown's top star by year's end. Would this have been a better timeline? Would Eddie's reign have lasted longer? Let me know what you think. That's it for this episode of Just Putting Around. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe and share if you want to help decide future episodes. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep potting around.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast. Ozcast. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.